Hello, I'm Peter Blatt, and we recently had a correction in the market. That's a drop of 10% in either the S&P or the Dow, and this happens on average every year. At these times, I always like to reflect about what is going on and how strong our economy is and how strong our companies are in the US and around the world. So back in 2011, I went to go visit a client who had a recommendation and a referral for me. And he said, I got somebody who I'd like you to work with. Now, back then I did more house calls back in 2011, and I went over his house and I met a gentleman. His name is not Ned, but I'm gonna call him Negative Ned. All he did was talk about how bad things were, how bad the economy is, how bad the president is, how bad his soup he had yesterday was. Everything was negative. And he kept on going around how the system is broken and how this is a problem and that is a problem. And after hearing this gentleman for about 10 minutes, I stopped him. I looked to my client and I said, you know what? The system is broken and it only works for a select few. And it's your choice of whether or not you want to be one of those select few. So I quickly went back to my office and I started writing a blog. And it was the top 10 things that people do or investors do in order to be one of the select few. It was all about planning. It was all about how to do things differently than other people in order to be very successful. Now that blog got me published twice in the Wall Street Journal and several other news medias. Now during this time of being published, I got very busy writing my blog, and I decided to slow it down in the last couple of years so I can focus more on my clients. That being said, the lessons of then are still the lessons of today. In order to be successful, it's all about planning and doing what other people maybe aren't doing. In this case, we had a correction in the market. And I look at this and I say, a lot of our clients, you, have a lot of safety in your portfolio. Very few of my clients are 100% equity. Most of them have less equity, and they have other types of investments that weren't directly affected by what happened with this tariff discussion and other discussions. And this safety is fantastic. You look at this and say, why do we have that? It's just for times like this. But also, I look at our low unemployment rate, I look at our slowing of inflation number, and I see these tariffs coming in. Whether or not they're going to be put in place fully, don't know, probably will, we'll see. But I see companies able to borrow, publicly traded companies, able to borrow money much cheaper than last year. I see companies reducing expenses. This is an opportunity to grow. I'm actually still fairly bullish, which means going really well overall, even though we had a correction in the market. Now, I look forward to what's going to happen in the future. I try not to get caught up, and I recommend you try not to get caught up in the day-to-day on like the news media cycle about this person saying that or that person saying this, because overall, we're actually still in good times. I'm here, Darren's here, my whole office is here if you have any questions, and we're here to keep it going and stay the course.